Hello and welcome to ShameOver, where you can lose the hangover, not the booze. I'm your host, Erica Mallery, and this is a podcast for those interested in moderation and drinking less, and who want to find peace and balance in their consumption. I am on this journey with you, and I am proof that you can drink less without going cold turkey or all out sober. If this sounds good to you, let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Today we are kicking off part one of a really powerful conversation with Jessica Tanir. Jessica is an integration guide with a background in hospitality, wellness, and sobriety support. And in this episode, we're diving into what it looked like for her to go from working behind some of the busiest bars and restaurants in New York and Miami to realizing alcohol was no longer aligned with the life that she actually wanted. So if you have ever felt like drinking was just part of the culture, part of the job, part of the social scene, or just what everyone around you did, this conversation is going to give you a lot to think about. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to ShameOver, the Drink Less podcast. I am here with Jessica Tanir, and I am so excited for this conversation. So Jessica, I will just pass it on to you. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm doing well today.
Good. So tell us about who you are, what you do.
I am an integration guide. So essentially, I help people integrate mindsets, habits, rituals that are going to ultimately bring them back to themselves. A lot of my work has been rooted in sobriety because that's been a big part of my journey. And I spent over 10 years working behind the bar in hospitality. And then also I found myself exploring a little bit of the plant medicine world as well. So I use a little bit of touch of that in my practice as well.
Amazing. So are you virtual, in person, mix and match? What does that look like?
I do a little of both. So I can virtually work with someone. I actually just started offering these like virtual sound healing sessions. But then I also have in-person events as well here in Miami. That's where I'm based out of. For now, though, because I'm actually going to be moving to St. Pete, which is about 3-4 hours north of Miami, more on like the west Gulf side of Florida.
That's exciting. When's that taking place?
The end of June.
Okay.
And I'm really excited because I visited there last June and my partner and I fell in love. It was just very different vibe than Miami. It felt like more genuine. There was a lot of small businesses. It seems like there's a little bit more community that I would connect with there.
Seems a little bit more relaxed, I would say.
Yes, exactly. Like the Miami scene, I've been here for 5 years. I moved in 2020. I was living in New York City before.
Okay.
And so I feel like it was like a nice transition from New York, but now we're ready for something a little bit more relaxed.
Yes,
like you said.
very much so. That's awesome. So talk about like the restaurant hospitality scene that you were in. I frequented a lot of those, especially, in my drinking days. And so I can't imagine what it was like on the other side of
It was a wild time. Like I worked in New York for 7 years and then I worked in Miami.
for like the bars and,
Yes,
that
the
scene.
bars,
Yeah.
restaurants. And I worked at some of the busiest places too there. Some
Okay.
of the more like high profile, I want to say. Like I worked
Sure.
at Catch, which is like this kind of sceney restaurant bar place in the I think it's in Chelsea, and you'd always see like celebrities there and stuff like that. I worked at a bunch of different nightclubs there, and then moving to Miami, I somehow ended up at the busiest restaurant down here too, called Komodo. And during COVID, it was insane how many covers we would do. I think maybe like a Friday, Saturday night, we would see like 1,600 people walk through the door. And like, that's just people who are sitting at tables. That's not even just the people who are at the bar seats.
Oh my God.
And it was like the busiest place I had ever worked. And it was just insane, especially during COVID. Very interesting to see that dynamic of people going out and like still drinking. Very stark difference than how it was in New York City because everything closed there.
Sure. Very different. Yes. So what kind of led you onto this sobriety path? Was it while you were working in the industry? Was it afterward?
It's interesting because when I moved from New York to Miami, I kind of had made a commitment that my life was going to be different here. In New York, I fell into going out a lot, drinking a lot. It's really baked into the industry itself.
Yeah.
Like if you bartender, work in restaurants, it's so normal for you to go out and drink after your shift. Like it was just, I feel like I learned that when I was like 19 serving at this place in Virginia where I'm from. Like you made all your money and then you kind of go out and spend it and like drink So then when I moved here to Miami, I was like, okay, I want to I want to have a different experience.
Okay.
And so I tried to really separate myself when I was still working in restaurants. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to work and then I'm going to go home. And in that time, I was also studying to become a health coach. And so my life started to revolve more about health and wellness. It kind of did in New York too, but now it was having more of an impact of I was just having more of a commitment to it. I was teaching yoga a little bit. I was studying to be this health coach. I started doing some wellness events with a friend. And so the more I started to lean into all of that, it just felt like I was leading this double life because I would like go and serve alcohol. And I swear I'm like a different person behind the bar.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I almost want to like apologize to some people who've maybe met me behind the bar because I was like very different than how I am in everyday life. And I think you need to because you're dealing with so many different
Mm,
personalities, people are under the influence, there's just a lot going on. So I think
yes.
you kind of have to put on this mask when you are going to work that kind of job, and also you're in
Absolutely.
customer service,
Yeah.
and then the customers are intoxicated on top of that. So it just started to feel like I was like, "Okay, this is not where I belong." Like, it became more and more evident, and then I'd say like halfway through my time here in Miami, I was still kind of falling into old habits with drinking because I got so, and actually, I should back up and preface a little. My time in New York, too, I was dating a lot of people who had addictions to alcohol and drugs. And so,
Mm,
being with those types of partners mixed with working in hospitality, my idea of what was normal for drinking was not normal. I discovered later. I'm
mm.
like, you're not supposed to black out every time you drink. Huh. I'd like go out with like other friends that like didn't work in hospitality and they would not be blacking out like that or like not drinking to the extent I was. And so, but I carried some of those bad habits with me to Miami, I should say. And so I'd still have those moments where I was like not cutting myself off or not even realizing it, overindulging. And then there'd be moments too where I'd like have an event the next day, like this whole event I planned out with a friend. And then I would drink the night before and totally sabotage myself. And I would wake up feeling like crap to host this event that's about wellness and like connecting with yourself. And I'm like, what the heck? So in December, actually, sorry, January of 2023, I decided to take off the first 3 months sober. Like, let me just give this a shot. I had like kind of like a bad, not, I wouldn't say like bad episode, but like I went to this like music, this all day music festival and I
Okay.
totally overindulged in a way that was like, I fell asleep on the beach. I didn't really like remember I kinda, like, woke up, had to hop in this Uber to go home, and, like, felt
Mm,
so bad the next day, and I
yeah,
think for me, that was kind of like a wake-up call, like, "Okay, I need to take a break."
sure.
Even these few times I'm drinking, clearly, I don't know my limits, so then I took the first 3 months off of 2023, and then I still had a few weddings and things here and there, but then I still found myself, like, not being able to control myself when I start drinking, and so then January 2024, my partner and I were like, let's just try to go sober for the year. And so, like, we went the year together, and then last year rolled around, and we just didn't have a desire to drink. And so now it's been over 2 years. And it's
Um,
kind of crazy when I think about it. I'm like, it's wild because my whole life for so long was based around alcohol, drinking it or crafting drinks with it, serving it. And so it feels very good that I'm like, my life's taken such a 180 since then.
absolutely. Were you kind of at least the first go, was it kind of like a dry January thing? Like, we'll start with dry January and then just go for 2 more months after that? Or
Yeah, I kinda took it, because I think if you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna go 3 months," that's like a huge especially if you're someone who is already drinking a lot or even, like, drinking, like, a few times a month, that still feels like a huge challenge for you. So I think you
absolutely.
do have to take it, like, maybe 2 weeks to a month, and you just kind of keep hitting those milestones, and then once you've
Mhm.
gone the month, you're like, "Oh, okay." It's kinda like you have to keep telling yourself, "I'm just gonna keep going for, like, another week or, like, another month." And then over time, you get to maybe 3 months, 6 months, however long it is that you end up wanting to, like, take that break. And it feels easier because 'cause you're, like, not putting all that pressure of, like, you have to take off 3 months or 6 months or a year. It's like these, like, micro little baby goals that you're meeting first, and then it feels easier.
Exactly. I could not agree more because I think so many people approach it in such an overwhelming way that
Mhm.
then it does become like I fail because I didn't make it that whole time. And then, regardless of, whether that was a weekend or 2 months and whatever. But then when they do start drinking again, it's like gung ho because it was the I can't have it
Mhm.
mentality that it messes up the mindset so much. And sounds like you work a lot on mindset. So
Mhm.
how
Exactly.
has
Well,
that
yeah, I was gonna say, like, that mentality is like you're, like, setting yourself up for failure, and it's almost like when you go on a diet and you're like, "I'm not eating any sugar, I'm not eating this or that," but then soon as you have that moment where you allow yourself to have the thing that you've been resisting the whole time, it's like you go crazy.
Yes, exactly. And that, I mean, it's how our brains work. Like, that's actually our brains doing their job for like how they're supposed to function. So it's not a
Exactly.
willpower thing. It really comes down to mindset and having healthier mindsets around like all things. So
Mhm.
alcohol, food, social media, like everything.
Mhm. I know literally everything now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, absolutely. So you guys did it together, or you guys, I guess,
Mhm.
have been doing this together now. You said 2 years?
Yeah, I guess 2 years and 2 months
That's
since we just
amazing. Well,
ended February. I know, and I'm more proud of my partner because he works in nightlife, he's a DJ,
oh,
and,
wow.
like, the fact that he has stayed sober this long is so impressive to me because he's still around it. Like, I quit bartending over it'll be 2 years ago this June, and I'm like, I'm at least not around it anymore, like, as a job every in my day to day, but he is, so it's been impressive to watch him maintain his sobriety.
Has it been challenging for him? I'm sure, like, moments here and there, or has it been
Yeah,
a lot
I
easier
think
than I guess you probably both would have expected?
I think it's both because I think too, when you do get sober and then you see other people out, you're kind of like, "I'm glad I'm not drinking," because like, you might know how they're gonna feel the next day, but then also he'll have moments like if he's DJing and he has friends come,
Yeah.
vice versa, or if he even goes out sometimes, he's like, "I do miss having dirty martinis," and I'm like, "Yeah, me too sometimes."
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that just from hearing you talk, you can tell it's not your identity,
Mhm,
and that is one thing that I mean, for those who are newer to me or, who don't know me at all, like I do still drink very, very
mhm,
moderately, very seldomly. But even if I never drink again, I personally would never call myself sober because as soon as I
mhm,
do, I know that's going to make me think about it all the time and want it that much more and everything. So again, back to like the mindset piece of it. But
mhm,
what I've definitely found with some people who are sober is that is their entire identity. And I'm like, nothing should be your entire identity. Like, not even like being a mom or being,
mhm,
this profession or nothing should be your entire identity, but especially not being sober. Just like being an alcoholic should not be your identity, right? And
mhm,
that's one thing that I've definitely found that I feel like can be so detrimental because then they have a drink or they have a sip and it's
mhm,
like, "Oh my god, who am I? Like I just ruined everything." It's like, "No, you didn't.
mhm.
You had a sip. You're fine."
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. Because it's yeah, then what happens if you do have that drink and then you're like you have this whole, like, identity crisis of like, "Wait a second,
Mhm.
but I was this sober person." And it's funny that you bring that up because like, I've thought that too, and I've shared that in my content a lot where I'm like, "I don't know if I'm gonna have another drink again. I'm just this is what works for me right now."
Sure.
And, like, being sober has served me in the last few years, but, like, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna have another drink because I don't know.
Yes.
We change so much. It's crazy. Like when I think of like even like the beginning of the year, I'm like, okay, we're only in like the beginning of March. I already feel like a different person from like 2 months ago. So, and I can feel like how there are certain things that I'm gravitating towards now, just like maybe even like 6 months ago, right?
Sure.
So it's interesting when people want to put those labels on themselves.
That's exactly it, and that's why when I talk to people, like, I can tell very quickly what I feel like the likelihood of success is gonna be with certain things based on that exactly,
Mhm,
is if you define it as, like, "This is what I am, this is what I'm gonna be forever," it's like, none of us are gonna be anything forever, like, don't put that much pressure on it or on yourself, like, it doesn't
mhm,
need it, and I love that you even have the awareness, like, I'm different than I was 2 months ago because 'cause we're humans, we change, we evolve, like, that's why we're here is to adapt and
mhm,
discover new things about ourselves. I've worked with a lot of people that basically coming out of AA that they're like, "I don't know if I wanna start drinking again, but I know that that approach, like, did not work, and I want to at least experience different things." But
mhm.
it really, I think, is the whole identity thing that it's like, I want to be more than just focused on one thing.
Which I think is like it's kind of like a symptom of our society.
Mhm.
we're like told that we need to fit in these certain boxes and have these certain identities. And I think ultimately they hinder us from figuring out who we really are because when you, I think, take the time to really connect to self and do that practices, rituals, whatever it is that start to make you understand who you are and really listen to your own voice, you realize that like you're all of those things, but you're also none of those things. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Yes.
because it's just like you're just yourself. And like, yes, you can put on these different hats,
Mhm.
right? But it's not ultimately like you're gonna wear that hat your whole life, like you're saying.
Yes, exactly, and I mean, I even talk about alcohol being an accessory, like, I don't wear
Mhm.
accessories every day, like, most outfits are totally great without them, but it's like, alcohol can be an accessory, it's a nice to have, it can dress things up or whatever, but besides that, like, too many accessories ruin everything,
Mhm.
so, like,
Yeah, you're just like too much
yes,
going on here.
exactly. So it sounds like this is like a lot of like kind of I'm assuming the health coach that I guess talk to me a lot about the health coaching that you do and
Mhm.
what kind of attracted you to getting into that field anyway.
I can't even remember. I think like I kept getting these because I got my certification at IIN,
Okay.
the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I had another friend who had done the program. And then it was funny because when I went through the program, a lot of what they taught us, I was like, oh, I already do like most of the stuff. So it felt very aligned.
Yes.
And then I did take on specific health coaching clients right away, but it was very right from the very beginning. It was funny because I didn't end up working on like their health, maybe in a sense of like what they were eating or exercise, things like that. I mean, we would touch on those
Sure.
things, but more so it always came down to mindset and like relationship to self and like, were they making time to prioritize connecting to self
Mhm.
and whatever that looked like? If that was like taking 2 minutes after, because I had like one client where they worked from home and they had a hard time like making that transition or setting those
Mhm.
boundaries with like, okay, work's over. Now I have the time for myself. And so we would like create some sort of like ritual or routine or something that like, okay, when work's done, you're going to do these things to then transition into the next part of your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately it's always just been mindset with my clients. And then over the years, I feel like I've dabbled in so many different modalities that
Mhm.
then have helped inform me of how I can then serve my clients more. And like other things that I find helpful to integrate that I hope that maybe they would also find helpful.
Oh, such a good conversation already, right? So, in part two, Jessica and I will go even deeper into the mindset side of all of this, including why labels around drinking can sometimes do more harm than good. Also, how identity can play a huge role in the behavior change and why your relationship with alcohol is often really a reflection of your relationship with yourself. So make sure you come back for part two. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend, send it to someone who needs to hear it. And of course, be sure to subscribe or follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, before you guys go, if you are tired of the hangovers, the guilt, shame, regret, or maybe you're just thinking about alcohol way too much, ShameOver can help. I will teach you how to drink less, feel better, and actually enjoy life without the shame spiral. If you're interested, go to shameover.me and learn more, and hopefully you'll start today. Cheers to that. ShameOver is the mindful drinking program designed for women who desire to drink less without losing the booze completely. If you want to transform your relationship with alcohol and live a healthier, confident, and balanced life, go to shameover.me and get started today. You deserve it, you're worth it, your future self thanks you. Cheers!